I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Welcome to the 34 Motorsports Product Showcase. We're proud to offer the full line of Simpson Racing safety products. The Shark Speedway is a perfect brain bucket to keep your melon as safe as possible. We carry every model and size of Hans device, and these have saved countless lives. The Hybrid Pro Lite is an alternative to the Hans device and is just as effective. The DNA 3-layer suit offers maximum protection when things get hot. And hey, dude, those comfy shoes won't help one bit when things go south. Keep those hands ready to work with a pair of Vortex FIA gloves meeting every current standard. From 5 to 7 points, we carry every one of the Simpson harnesses, keeping your rear end right where it should be. Keep all your gear clean and together with the helmet and FHR bag, and always be ready to hop in a race car. Visit 34motorsports.com and order today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another night of racing action here on the National Racing Network. My name is Chris Graham. It's a pleasure to have you hanging out with us here this evening. Alongside me in the booth tonight, my regular co-host, his last show of the week, because this slacker's flying off to Daytona tomorrow night, Mr. James Watson. What's going on, brother? You ready for the plane?
I don't know if I am. It's actually going to be my first time on the flight, so how I'm going to handle that, your guess is as good as mine.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very cool to hear. Man, I don't remember my first flight. I was young, and then I got on lots of planes, but man, very cool. Enjoy the experience here. But first, we got a big experience coming up here tonight at the Auto Club Speedway. It's the Stars and Cars of the Sim Racers Club. Qualifications already underway. No surprise here, Johnny Avila heading to the top of the charts, 41.186. Avila has been unstoppable this season. 3 starts, 3 wins, and he was the pole sitter last week at Dover, So far this season, he's led 185 of the 380 laps he's completed. I'll tell you what, James, it's just domination is what Johnny Avila's done to the series so far.
Oh my god, that's unreal. He is absolutely running roughshod over everyone. It's getting almost to bounty stage like we see Tear Up Tuesday with Felix Roy.
Yeah, that's not a bad point here. Avila goes to the top of the charts, 41.128 seconds, 175.063 miles an hour. Not many laps in that 175 mile an hour bracket. These are the cars of the NASCAR Xfinity Series, or the B-Class cars that are out here tonight, as we're following along with A.J. Digby as he's finishing up his qualification run. Now we'll slide over, pick up Tyler. There's a Taylor and a Tyler, and I keep screwing them up. Tyler Seville. Sorry, bud, I'll try not to boot your name. He actually is the best finishing driver entered tonight. This is the second visit to Auto Club Speedway for the Sim Racers Club in the full-bodied stock cars, we'll say. They've also run a couple of races in the trucks. But in the Cup cars, Greg Evans, Scott Eckrich picking up wins in 2020 and 2021. Tyler Seville, the best finishing driver here in this series. Going to be interesting to see if there's somebody that might have a chance of knocking off Johnny Avila. It may very well be Tyler Seville.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on our broadcast stream to pop up before I can really comment on what's going on in front of me.
Yeah, it helps if I turn things on for you, doesn't it? There we go. Now we got you. All right. Troy Haight moving up into the second position on the speed charts. Lap time of 41.239 seconds. 41.239 the lap time. That works out to 174.592 miles per hour. John Eckhart just coming across the line to start his qualification run. We're down to about 5 minutes left in the session here. See what Eckhart's going to be able to do it on the speed boards. And another guy who we think is going to do pretty well tonight is Carlos Acosta. He's made 2 starts in the series, both of those inside the top 5, but has not yet been able to knock off Johnny Avila. One of the storylines that we're really going to have to follow tonight here, James, is the pit strategy. As always here, a little bit shorter field, a little bit less likelihood of caution flags. The fuel management is really going to be critical here tonight.
Fuel and tires. Fontana is an absolute cheese grater when it comes to tires. Even though you might be able to make it on fuel, so to speak, you gotta be aware on what your tires are doing. Like, the overcut and the undercut are going to be huge, and who can pull it off the best.
Take a look and see the lap time for John Eckhart, and it will be 41.397 seconds. 41.397. That works out to 173.926 miles per hour as that car comes to a stop. Take a look here at Tony Patton in the number 86, just making his way off of pit road. 2 more cars left to qualify here tonight, and they've only got about 3.5 minutes to get the lap on the board. Now, obviously at 41-second laps, you still have a little bit of time to get the car out onto pit lane, but Richard Smith and Jason Franks, the 2 cars that have not timed in yet here. And James, getting back to the pit strategy stuff here, the window we're hearing is anywhere from 45 to 50 laps, and some of that depends on your drafting partners. If 50 is a stretch, that really tells me that this is a 2-stop race. Then you have to start doing the mental gymnastics on when do you stop to make sure you have enough fuel for the green-white checkers, and you really got to kind of work this race backwards a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think, like I said, I don't think you really want to try to stretch fuel, because even if you can't get the fuel to last, you're going to lose so much time, not only slowing up and saving fuel, but spending all that time on completely worn tires.
Yeah, the biggest run I saw in practice was in the 22 to 25 lap range. That tells me if you've got 4 sets of tires and you have to stop every 25 laps for tires, you're going to make it because you got the one you start the race with and the 3 that are on the box. But stopping every 25 laps isn't necessarily the answer either, because you have to consider that there is the potential for caution flags. We saw it last week at Dover. There was some absolute carnage on that racetrack.
Yeah, that's a little bit of how Dover works. I don't think we'll see that much of a disaster here tonight.
We hope not, because if you're a fan of numerology, well, you might want to cover your ears a little bit here, because this is, as we mentioned, the 5th race in series history here at Auto Club Speedway, as we'll pick up Richard Franks making his qualification run. Race number 1 featured 8 caution flags for 31 laps. Race number 2 ran caution-free. Nice clean green run there. Race number 3, 7 cautions for 31 laps. Race number 4, 1 caution for 3 laps. So by my count, and again, if patterns hold, tonight we should see a 6 caution race. and somehow make that add up to 31 laps. But come back next season, it should only be a 2-caution race. If you believe in the patterns, we're in for a very, very long night here up in the broadcast booth. Want to thank everybody who's tuned in here on YouTube and on Twitch. Hopefully you are enjoying the show. Give us a shout. Let us know where you're watching from. Also want to remind you of the NRN Give Back. 10% of all the Super Chats, new memberships, donations via Venmo or PayPal to @National Racing Network. And also the, donation options, whatever they are, on Twitch. All of those going directly back to the drivers of the Sim Racers Club. We also take 10% and knock that off the bill for next season, if the Sim Racers Club wants to come back and hang out with us again anyway. But there we go. Qualifications have completed. Let's show you the results here. And, well, quite frankly, no surprise. Johnny Avila going to line up on the pole for tonight's race, 41.128 seconds. The quick lap time. He will be joined on the front row by Mr. Troy Haight. One other thing to look at before we get rolling here are the championship point standings. Johnny Avila, 137 points. 22-point lead over Tyler Seville. Kevin Stone, John Eckhart, and Troy Haight round out the top 5 in points. It's a tight battle from 2nd to 7th. The question becomes here, James, can anybody take down Johnny Avila tonight?
That's the question everyone has been asking themselves this whole season. I look forward to seeing the answer tonight, but hard to go against the betting favorite here.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're putting money on anybody but Johnny Avila tonight, you're a little bit messed up in the head. Johnny Avila, Troy Haight going to be on the front row. AJ Digby and Carlos Acosta will occupy row number 2 here. Will Worsler, Corey Silva on row number 3. Tim Knott and John Eckhart on row number 4. Richard Fletcher, Kevin Stone on row 5. Row 6 will have Michael Whiting and Tony Patton. Row number 7, Richard Smith and Tyler Seville. A little bit surprised there that Seville going to be starting so far in the back of the pack. And all alone on row number 8 will be Jason Franks. Franks not setting a lap time in qualifications, and as of yet, not on the grid either. They're down to about 15 seconds here before we get ready to roll off here. Great view of Fontana, California. The mountain's a little bit hazy there on the back straightaway.
Because of the ash. Yeah, more fires probably, knowing our state.
Yeah, that's sure. That's what we'll call it. Let's take a look at the weather conditions tonight, presented by our friends at the Weather Center. Offensively accurate weather for eastern Pennsylvania. By the way, check out Wisell, 9:30 tomorrow morning. If you live anywhere on the East Coast, we're going to have a full breakdown of the winter storm that is coming this weekend. But tonight here in the Sim World, 65-degree ambient temperature. Winds going to be out of the southwest at 10 miles an hour. Track temperature 83 degrees. One of the things, and we may even be seeing this with Johnny Avila here running down on the apron, James, you do not want to get these tires overheated early in the run.
Nope, you're going to be suffering because these are long laps.
Johnny Avila out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The Bulldog Roof Works. Will Worsler Racing, number 63, lining up alongside Bethlehem, Pennsylvania's Troy Haight in the Thrustmaster, number 28. Field going to work their way off of turn number 4. 100 laps the distance coming up here at Auto Club Speedway. And as always, race fans, the start of this one, it is going to be all yours. Off at turn number 4 for the first time. No surprise. It is Johnny Avila holding on to the race lead, and he's already out to a half-second lead over A.J. Digby. Great battle shaping up here for second between Digby and Will Worsler. Tough break for Jason Franks. He will be a did not start here tonight. Didn't get a lap in practice either, so, or at least didn't get much in practice. So looks like Jason having some sort of a connectivity issue over there. But
I think I saw he's having VR troubles.
oh, that sucks. That's a tough break when you don't really have the monitor set up for the kind of backup. But I'll tell you what, another guy having some issues here is A.J. Digby. He's fallen back to the 4th position after running in a battle for second at the end of lap number 1. Digby getting passed now by Troy Haight. He's back down to 5th. Things starting to settle in here just a little bit, but not the way you want the early parts of the race to start here, especially if you're making contact. Corey Silva having to peek down inside of Will Worsler through turns 3 and 4, and he's going to stay there the entire way down the front stretch. How about 2 for 1 on this lap? He's going after Johnny Avila for the race lead.
Oh, just can't get the slider completed.
Not the first time this week we've been yelling slide job, but I am more than happy to do it again. Avila going to hold it down on the inside of the racetrack. Excuse me, Silva on the inside. Avila holding the high side. Side-by-side battle now between Troy Haight and Will Worsler. They're going to fight for third. Four cars all packing up. How about 3 wide back behind them? That's Kevin Stone up on the outside of the racetrack. Tim Knott, A.J. Digby continuing to battle. James, I thought we were supposed to be good and save tires and not beat our stuff up here.
Yeah, but where's the fun in that?
That is very, very true.
We want to race. Although I look forward to watching everyone attempt to drive here in 10 laps after they've completely killed their tires and sitting there like, oh, why do we drive that hard?
Yes, Toto, this is a motor race. Will Worsler with the best lap of the race thus far, 41.520. How about 41.8 already? Worsler's last lap, a 42.2. We've already lost a half second over the quickest laps they've turned. Seeing Nikki Worsler checking in the comments here. Let's go WWR. Good luck, everyone. Thank you very much for hanging out once again, Miss Nikki. Kenneth checking in. If this broadcast doesn't have Watson breaking into song, is it really a broadcast? It depends on what the song is, I guess.
Yeah.
Kevin, go ahead.
I mean, I could sing the Beach Boys since we're in SoCal, but I'll take pity on the fine folks at home.
Yeah, I can't even make the Snoop Dogg drama in the LBC joke either, but not quite close enough to Long Beach.
I could go LL Cool J and say going back to Cali, but that may get us DMCA'd.
Quite possibly at this rate. Corey Silva holding on to a half-second lead over Troy Haight. Johnny Avila running in the 3rd position. We got a good old fight going on back here, starting with the 14 of A.J. Digby. He has Tyler Seville, Mike White, and Carlos Acosta all over his rear end. In fact, the 11 is Seville going to have the look to the inside. He'll have the drafting help from Whiting down the back straightaway. They're going to run as a pack of 4 cars, and I'll tell you what, James, we're sort of starting to see some haves and have-nots here. Corey Silva really extending the lead out. Johnny Avila having to hold off Will Worsler. You really don't want to have to play that game this early unless you're going to plan on that 25-lap stint and just say, damn the torpedoes, this is how we're going to run it. Maybe lap 27 to get yourself a little bit of wiggle room?
That'd be my guess. Like, the pace that some of these guys are doing, there's no way they're going to feasibly stretch it without being desperately off the pace.
Have to say a huge thank you to SimSpeedShop.com for their support of the Sim Racers Club. Make sure you check them out. You'll see their logo in the upper right-hand corner of the screen throughout the evening. And this is round number 4 of the Sim Racers Club schedule. We get a week off next week, coming back February 9th for 150 laps at Richmond, and that will round out the first half of the season. I can't believe we're already almost to the halfway point here. Closing out the season, Las Vegas, Pocono, North Wilkesboro, Rockingham, and Nashville Superspeedway. We don't really hit a big, fast track like this again. We have 2 of them, I would say, that sort of fit the mold a little bit in Las Vegas and Nashville, but Pocono's its own beast. North Wilkesboro is a unique challenge. Rockingham is way out there. This really is a neat little schedule for a 10-race series.
Yeah, I like it. I love diverse.
Let's run you back through the field a little bit here as we work lap number 11. Corey Silva will be your race leader this time by the start-finish line. Corey is up 5 spots from the drop of the green flag. And, well, we talk about damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead. That's been Corey Silva tonight. We'll have to keep an eye on the lap times, though, as Troy Haight is definitely starting to reel him in. Last lap time for Corey Silva, 42.177. Troy Haight, 42.078. So only about a tenth separating those two on their last laps. They've got a 2-second gap now to Will Worsler, who has a half second over Johnny Avila. Kevin Stone, another couple tenths behind. It really is kind of the guys who want to run away and hide and the guys who might be saving their stuff a little bit.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what this is going to look in about 10 laps or so. This lead is pretty big for them now, but they probably aren't even going to have the lead here in 10 laps. They're going to be pushing those tires way too hard, and they're going to be coming apart, and you're going to be stuck with good vibration. Oh. There's the Beach Boys song. You're welcome, Kenny.
Oh, that's terrible. Let's go on board here. Sounds like Kevin Stone not completely on the throttle here. Or at least not as much as he could be. It's not peaking out on the revs. Big lift, but man, you can hear those tires absolutely squealing. See the hands starting to come back to the right just a little bit. That's that car wanting to oversteer mid-corner and just the slightest little bit of a correction to keep it back in. Tell you what here, James, we're only 15 laps into this run, and best lap time last lap was Troy Haight at a 42.259, almost a full second off of his fastest lap of the race. And he's catching race leader Corey Silva. Silva's last lap, a 42.3. We'll see what the numbers look like this time by 42.5 for Corey Silva, 42.3 for Troy Haight. I mean, we are now a full second off the best laps. We're 16 laps in and the tires are turning to junk.
Yep. Yeah.
Caution on the
caution.
speedway, yellow on the racetrack, and it is trouble for Michael Whiting. Let's take a look here at the instant replay, see what happens here. Oh, he got a little help.
Ooh.
Little right side romance. Looks like that may have been AJ Digby getting into the side of Michael Whiting there, but that's going to put us under the caution flag for the first time tonight.
One down, 5 to go.
So the question becomes, how much do you want to play this game? Theoretically, the pit window opens anywhere from lap 10 to lap 19 if you're going to make it a 2-stop race. If you're going to make it a 3-stop race, you may be too early to try that.
And yep, that's exactly what I expected.
Yes, everybody is on pit lane this time here at, it'll be lap number 17 will be the lap of record for the pit stops.
Yeah, if you stayed out, you would have been lapped.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if some of the leaders might stay out. Oh, a little bit of trouble there for the 41 of Tim Knott. He's got to slide back to get into his box. The 94 of Silva going to be down and away. See who's going to win the race off of pit road. It's going to be Troy Haight getting the lead off of pit road. .72 seconds, the time of the stop for Troy Haight. Corey Silva, 14.95 seconds. Interesting calls here, though, James. Tim Knott, Richard Smith, and Tony Patton, all with pit stop times, 8.65, 7.62, 8.62 seconds, respectively. Could that be a 2-tire stop?
By George, I think you're right. I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, track position is kind of key because it's not the easiest place to pass, and oftentimes you are kind of running up close to the wall. But ooh, I don't know about that one.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting. Already lights are out on the iRacing safety truck, so we're going to go back to green flag racing here. 43 of Richard Fletcher getting back on to the racetrack now after a pit stop time of 53.57 seconds. Michael Whiting actually coming out in the 12th position. John Eckhart having a 22.5 second stop, so a little bit of damage repair there. Troy Haight going to restart this race from the inside of row number 1. He'll have Corey Silva to his outside. Johnny Avila and Tim Knott on row number 2. Richard Smith, Will Worsler on row 3. Tyler Seville, Tony Patton on row number 4. AJ Digby, Kevin Stone on row 5. Mike Whiting, Carlos Acosta on row 6. Richard Fletcher and John Eckhart will be the 7th and final row here for this restart. And Eckhart looks like he may have an EOL penalty here, so he'll have to tail in line on the inside lane. Joey Valley going full Ric Flair on us in the comments here. Timothy Austin saying, let's go, Tyler. Kenneth, he's all jacked up that he got his song. Green flag's back out. Troy Haight going to lead him to turn one. He will have Corey Silva and Johnny Avila right in tow. Ooh, Silva slides up the racetrack just a little bit, almost made contact with the outside safer barrier. Avila has to get down to the inside. He will make the pass down the back straightaway. First battle on the racetrack that we're seeing right now is Tim Knott and Tyler Seville. Got a good one forming up at the front of the field, but we're 3 wide. Back to the back. Oh, a couple of cars down to the inside. Whoa. See if they can get back up here. Everybody stays clean. How did they save that? Kevin Stone, AJ Digby. Good Lord, boys. Oh, man, where was the 14 going there? Both cars likely to have some damage to be repaired there, but they're going to be at the back of the field. Tell you what, though, hell of a save by both of those guys. Last lap was the best lap of the race here for Corey Silva, 41.338 seconds. Everybody down in the 41.4s. Only car in the 41.3s is Corey Silva right now. But this is sort of like we saw, James. You really, yes, you can set some blistering laps, but theoretically, you should be able to make it to lap 61, maybe even lap 66 on this set of tires.
Theoretically, but hell, they're throwing all those theories out the window right now.
Yeah, basically, they're hoping to get to lap 50 at this point if you're one of the race leaders. Puts you a little bit deep into the window, but it puts you back on kind of on strategy for that 3-stop race. You almost wonder now if you're Kevin Stone, AJ Digby, they've been fairly quick. I mean, Digby started up towards the front of this field. Do you try to save a little bit now and just maybe try to make this a 2-stopper?
I mean, normally that's what I do. I always try to be as cerebral as I can and try to save as much as I can. I never like to go full out when there's this much green flag racing. That's always, to me, been the best way to go.
Stone going to be side by side with Richard Fletcher. Not much of a contest there. Stone able to clear. Car doesn't seem to be that slow. He slides up in front of the 43 of Fletcher. Fletcher back down to the inside. Maybe just enough damage to slow you down. That's really where it becomes a problem if you're going to try that save, is you may have the optional damage you have to fix anyway. .25 laps in the books. It'll be Troy Haight leading at the 1/4 mark. Corey Silva having to look to the outside. Haight going to have to get down on the inside of the racetrack. And James, you last ran a league race in these cars late 2021. what is it like when you're trying to save tires? I would assume you don't want to be all over the white line at the inside of the racetrack. Try to make the corners as gentle as possible, I would think.
Yeah, watch your throttle input, your steering input. The steering input is the big thing on these B cars. The fixed setups tend to be made more towards the tight side, and you just kill your right front. So the easier you can drive it and the nicest you can be to it is the way to go. But that's a big ask to do at a place like this.
Definitely going to be interesting to watch here as we see how this race progresses. We tend to see these things kind of settle into a rhythm a little bit here. Some of these guys that have been very smart this season, Will Worsler, Tyler Seville, especially Tyler Seville, running towards the front of the point standings here. That's really something that you have to put a lot of thought into. Now, Seville running about 1 1/3 seconds behind Johnny Avila. Is that close enough where, yeah, you can see the guy up ahead of you still, you don't have to worry that much about it?
Yeah, you're certainly not in panic mode. Like, if you were like 3 or 4 seconds, and you'd be like, okay, this isn't good, I gotta make something happen, but you can still see him pretty well back where he is, and plus you know you have to be easy on your equipment, so I think he's sitting pretty easy right now.
Johnny Avila has caught up to your top 3, making a 3-car fight for the race lead off at turn 2. Silva going to dip down on the inside of the back straightaway, trying to grab the race lead away. Haight going to stay up on the top side. Now they're going to have to worry about Johnny Avila, who's going to have the peak inside of Haight off at turn number 4. He's all the way down on the apron of the racetrack, trying to go 2 for 1 down the front stretch. Nothing really going here. Let's slide back just a little bit. Pick up Tyler Seville, who's right in the tire tracks of Will Worsler. Closing in on the halfway point. The first caution of the race was at lap number 16. That would mean caution number 2 might be here in and around lap number 32-ish. But that was also contact related. Haven't seen anybody that's getting overly loose, really out of control, anything like that, where we're seeing a big push, you're seeing the snap loose starting to happen. They aren't quite there yet.
No, we haven't gotten too much of a green flag run, though. I think the caution came out right around halfway through the fuel run, so we haven't seen these cars in extreme suffering yet. So a 3-car battle, then a 2-car fight. And how about Mike Whiting coming back from being the cause of the first caution flag of the race? Makes the pit stop. He's all the way back up to position number 7. Very nice recovery drive here for Mike Whiting. Richard Smith, Tim Knott battling here towards the back of the pack for 12th and 13th. Tony Patton right behind him. Slide it back up to the front of the field here because
Johnny Avila getting all over the back bumper of Troy Haight. Now, you wonder, James, how much of this could be drafting as well, trying to work your way around the racetrack here and sip as much fuel and save as much tires as you possibly can.
Yeah, the draft is playing a huge part here, especially since we don't really have we're pretty low downforce, you know, we don't have the giant-ass spoilers on these cars. So yeah, the draft is being very helpful to a lot of these guys.
Ooh, getting tight off the corner, getting tight for position at the front here as well. Johnny Avila down to the inside of Troy Haight into 3. This really does have the feeling of this place is 5 cars wide and very difficult to pass on. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, but the reality of things is once you pull out, you lose the draft. It's almost like you just hit a wall.
Yeah, that's why you kind of see as much of the slide jobs as we're seeing tonight, because that's really your only recourse. Otherwise, you're just going to stall out.
Slide jobs on pavement. Yes. Let's get after it, boys. I'll tell you what, a little bit surprised here. No real change in the track temperature. Already about a half hour into this race, and even with all the cars on it, still only sitting at 83 degrees. It tells me you're not going to see a huge variation over the course of the race. Probably a little bit comforting to these drivers to know at least that if somebody's watching out for that for them, a spotter, a crew chief, something like that, they're at least going to be able to tell them, hey, you're good, settle in, hit your marks.
Yeah, that's such a lifesaver as a driver. That's one less thing you have to manage and keep in mind. That's the toughest thing about iRacing, is that you have to manage a whole lot of things that you wouldn't really have to be worried about if you were actually on the track in real life.
Yeah, that's something that when we look at the league's Discord server here, you don't see a lot of spotters. There's not crew chiefs. There's not all the kind of hangers-on that are in the Discord, you know, individual car Discords or team chat rooms. Now, that's not saying they're not watching and as spectators, but it doesn't seem to be that there's a ton of that going on, and that really is a strategery element of things. In the real world, you've got engineers that are looking at, you've got a weather guy on the box. His only job is to keep track of weather, monitoring the tires and everything else. As we see Johnny Avila getting down to the inside for the race lead. You don't have an army of people here that are making these calls, and you just have to drive. You've got to be crew chief, spotter, weatherman, and everything in between here. You might have some apps to help you, but still not an easy thing to do.
Nope. Yeah, like the amount of info you have to keep track. And like me personally, I don't even have any of the fancy add-ons and stuff. So I've always felt like the woman doing math in her head meme when I'm trying to calculate fuel, and I'm just like holding onto the wheel while being like, okay, I've done this amount of laps, and I have this many gallons left, and okay, upon further review, I don't know how I'm gonna be.
Yes, some of these drivers will have iPads. I mean, they're running a lot of them on triples or VR. But if you're running on triples, you'll have the monitor over top in some instances. You'll have an iPad that's doing nothing but fuel calculations. You'll have one that's handling some of your spotter information and even LED panels that can throw up when there's a car trying to make a pass. Like Johnny Avila is. Get the blinking left side light on there for Corey Silva. New race leader into 1, Johnny Avila. Some drivers go absolutely ballistic. Oh, Silva, keep it off the wall, buddy. some guys go nuts, and some guys are kind of like you and me, and you sit there with a wheel and a monitor and hope for the best.
Pretty much. If you can even call what I have a monitor. Actually, my monitor is pretty good. It's not like the TV I used to have.
Taking a look at some numbers now here. 23 laps into the stint. Johnny Avila moving to the race lead. First time we've seen him at the point tonight. Oh, man, but things are really starting to get ugly here for Corey Silva. Bounces the car off the safer barrier at the exit of turn 2. Going to give up second to Troy Haight. Tyler Seville closing in quickly to try to grab that third spot away as well. Now we're kind of getting close to that number of, do you want to make the stop early and take tires, or do you just have to ride this out to the end?
Honestly, if I was in their situation, I would probably pit. I'd probably pit around lap 55. You know, try to get it as early as you can, but as late as you can to where you're not really opening yourself up to get swallowed up by the overcut.
Yeah, basically you're kind of in that mode of get you to about a 37 lap stint. You stop at 55, it's close enough to 40. You can't make it to the end, but it gives you a wide window if we get another caution flag that you can make that final stop. However, some of these drivers, especially guys like John Eckhart, Kevin Stone, AJ Digby, they're only 6 seconds back. They could theoretically make this on one more stop if you push it all the way to the end of the number.
Yeah, like, I think the ideal strategy could be stretch it to around lap 60, because my math is correct. I think they stopped on lap 17, so you can get to lap 60, and that's about a 40-lap run to the end. So I think that would be the best way to go if I was out there dealing with my own strategy.
You wonder how much has Corey Silva lost the handle here. Tyler Seville getting around in turn number 2. Longest green flag run we've had of the night, and quite frankly, James, this is about the longest run we saw in practice as well. We're now really entering uncharted territory for these drivers if you haven't practiced the long run at all this week.
Yeah, and like said it a million times already, long run here is terrible because you just have no right front at all. You are driving a dump truck around here.
Yeah, we're going to get the ads out of the way here, by the way, on YouTube and on Twitch. They would auto-run shortly anyway, so we're going to get them out before the pit stops start here. See Michael Whiting coming around Carlos Acosta into turn number 3. Whiting up 5 spots from the drop of the green flag, and a great recovery drive after being the reason for the first caution. Looking back up towards the front once again. Closest battle on the racetrack is Tyler Seville and Corey Silva. Separated by only about a quarter of a second. Tell you what, though, Troy Haight having a peek on Johnny Avila inside of 3. Makes up a little ground, taking the shorter line. Only car on the racetrack right now that is turning laps anywhere close to the good is Michael Whiting. Everybody else, we have a timing delta on our timing screen. Basically, the more purple it gets, the better you're doing. It means you're gaining on lap time. When you are slower than your fastest laps, you see the line trend downward in green until you've absolutely bottomed out, and then it just turns blue. And your lap is just terrible. We're seeing a lot of that right now is Troy Haight inside of Johnny Avila. And how about it, folks? Will Worsler making his appearance at the front. Worsler may have saved enough tire to really go after things here late in this run. Starting to see our answer here, James. Tony Patton, Richard Smith, both on the pit lane, pitting out of 13th and 14th. So they will have to make at least one more stop.
I don't know if I agree with that, but we'll see how it works out for them.
Well, that was two of the cars that took the short pit stop. It may have only taken 2 tires on that first pit stop. So I would imagine they are really hurting for left side tires at this point. Seeing Will Worsler come around Corey Silva. That was kind of one of my things to watch for heading into tonight. Will Worsler just did not have a good week last week at Dover. Involved in 2 incidents and actually parked for the night as a result of that. He really needed a good comeback drive. We're seeing it here out of him. Qualified inside the top 5, now running in the 4th position.
Yeah, that's great for him. You always want to come back after a disastrous race like that. Really impressive.
That's can be a hard thing to do as well. You're kind of fighting mental demons there. The last time you were in the league, you didn't have a good night. Even if you ran good races other places since then, you still kind of have to mentally put yourself back in the frame of this league I have to do well tonight in.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I always struggled with was the mental aspect in trying to bounce back after a rough race, a rough moment. Like, that's what really sets the top tier guys from the regular folk, is not whether you make a mistake and have a bad race, it's what you do after it is what sets the true guys apart.
Seeing Tim Knott on pit lane, he did get 50 laps out of those left side tires. Man, I hope he's not trying to get 50 out of this next set and go to the end, because that is not going to be fun. But we are to the point now here, James, where you could theoretically make it to the end. You're also in the window where you can go to lap 75, maybe lap 80, and make that final stop and put one last clean set of sneakers on.
Yeah, like I said, though, it's not a race-winning strategy if you come in now. Like, stretch it at least another 5 laps to give yourself an opportunity.
Yeah, because then the question becomes, does anybody save a set, and can you run the stints long enough that you have a set available for a green-white checkered? You can gain 5, 6, 8 spots in that 2-lap stint if you've got fresher tires than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Show you the gaps here to the race leader. 4 cars all within about a second of the race leader. Well, including race leader Johnny Avila. Then you go back another 1.5 seconds to Corey Silva. Another full second back to Mike Whiting. Outside of this top 4 battle, there really isn't much going on here on the racetrack.
Nah, everyone else is in full-on suffer mode.
Take a look at the manufacturers here. A couple of Chevrolets at the front of the field, although I say that, and Tyler Seville getting around Troy Haight, or at least trying to get around Troy Haight, and he does so The Bowtie Brigade is strong, 5 inside the top 7. Highest running Toyota, Tyler Seville in second. Highest running of the Blue Ovals, Mike Whiting in the 6th position. Lap times now for the 2 race leaders, Johnny Avila, Tyler Seville, 43 flat. Troy Haight at a 43.4, Will Worsler at a 42.9. We're a second and a half off the best laps of the race. Corey Silva now making his way down the pit road, so he's stopping here at lap number, it's actually going to be lap 54 is the lap that the pit stop will be scored on.
And that's just terrible. What is that, like 2 seconds off the qualifying pace?
Yeah. They're hurting for tires. We'll say it that way. Now, taking a look at where Corey Silva is going to come out on the racetrack, he's going to be a lap down when he re-enters here. But he is going to set significantly faster lap times. The whole idea of the undercut strategy at this point is set faster laps while they're on junk and hope you're able to make up any ground that you might have lost.
Yes. But we'll see if this opens up for the overcut, where when they come in for their stop, they're on faster tires doing faster lap times, and you're already burning through your stuff, starting to fade down to a slower lap time. It depends on when the rest of them come in. If it's about 3, 4, 5 laps, I think he'll be fine and he'll be the big winner. But if they can stretch it decently for another 7, 8, 9 laps, that's going to leave him in the dust.
Right. The overcut or the undercut strategy relies on the cars in front of you having to stop very quickly after you do. That's why we see it in the world of Formula One all the time, where the B car of the team may stop first just to force the hand of the rival team to get their lead car in and not get burned by the undercut. However, if you can run a significantly longer distance, that's significantly fewer laps at the end of the race that you're going to have to put on your tires. We're seeing it now. Corey Silva absolutely flying around the race leaders. Corey Silva, last time by, 41.626 seconds. Johnny Avila, your race leader, 43.054. Corey Silva is a second and a half a lap faster. Oh, big save, Tyler Seville. That boy was sideways off of turn 2. James, let me ask you this. Is that enough to spook you as a competitor and go, all right, time to come in?
Depends on how skittish you are. Oftentimes I'd say yes, but there have been a few times where I was like, I'll gut it out and see.
Well, we would anticipate the window to open up potentially as soon as the next lap, lap number 61. Oh, here he comes. Here comes the 11 of Tyler Seville, this time down the pit lane. Making his second stop of the night. Big whoa up on the brakes. Carlos Acosta going to join him on pit lane. So Seville will likely have at least a little bit of drafting help when they get back out onto the racetrack.
I hope he got that thing loaded up in time.
We're going to find out here. Oh, and he overshoots the box just a hair.
Oh.
Backs it up, loses a couple of tenths. Crew around the right-hand side. Imagine this likely to be a 4-tire change. Car's already down, back up on the left-hand side. 4 fresh Goodyear Racing Eagles, 2 cans Sunoco Racing Fuel. And there's the penalty. Car's down off the jack, and Tyler Seville sits stationary. Race leaders all coming down pit lane en masse here. Top 6, Johnny Avila, Will Worsler, Troy Haight, Mike Whiting, AJ Digby, Kevin Stone on the pit lane. 7th place, Corey Silva, middle of the backstretch right now. Very well could come around here with the race lead. The question just becomes, did he stop too early? Oh, man, what a slide job into the pit stop there for the 63 of Johnny Avila. Got himself set up for the straight run out of the box. Car's down off the jacks, and there goes Corey Silva. He is long gone. Johnny Avila going to be the first one off a pit lane of those cars that did elect to stop. 15.47 seconds. Oh, man, that was a huge penalty for Tyler Seville. 1 minute 9 seconds. He was stationary in the pit box. So a 60-second hold for speeding on pit road.
Yeah, I could tell by how crazy.
Avila's coming back in. Avila may have gotten a pit exit penalty. Johnny Avila coming back down pit lane.
Wow.
Huge mistake that is for Johnny Avila. See if it'll be a drive-through or if it'll be a stop and hold. Yeah, he's getting down to the inside, and Johnny Avila hits the box, and he will have to serve a penalty. That's going to put him at least 1 lap down to new race leader Corey Silva. And for right now, the undercut seems very effective. 7.5 seconds effective. Ahead of Will Worsler. Only good battle on the racetrack right now is Kevin Stone and Tim Knott fighting side by side. Avila finally down and away out of the pit box. A 30-second stop and go penalty. That is absolutely race killing.
Yeah, that undercut looks a heck of a lot better when your rivals also shoot themselves in the foot on their pit stop. Don't forget that.
Well, it definitely helps. Now, obviously, the question is going to be, who's going to turn the quick lap times here? How about Troy Haight just setting a new fastest lap of the race, 41.331 seconds. He was 0.3 faster than second place Will Worsler and a full second faster than race leader Corey Silva. Things are going to get really interesting here late in this race. You would think everybody's going to have to stop again. Corey Silva very, very likely will have to stop again. For Will Worsler, Troy Haight, they may not need to stop.
Yeah, I think they may be okay.
I mean, they're going to have to go 40 laps on the set of tires. But that's about the stint that we saw. No, not quite. They stopped at 17 and they stopped at 61.
That's about 44 laps?
Yeah, 44 laps.
Yeah, so they've done it. And now that they know they have to stretch this, I imagine they are pretty well driving that car gingerly. So they know what they need to do. I think that also may be why the lead is so big. They're just trying to put along and take care of their stuff as best as they can, because they know that they can make it.
Well, we said how big the lead was. In just a couple of laps, it's already down a second and a half, and you can see that interval tick down. Will Worsler is absolutely cutting into this lead in a very big way. In fact, we'll show you the lap time differences here. Worsler and Haight are significantly faster than what Silva is running at this point. Anywhere from 0.7 to 0.3 of a second faster Will Worsler is over the last 5 laps. Troy Haight is even quicker. His lap times run from about a half second to almost a full second faster than what Corey Silva's running. Silva may be a sitting duck here.
See, that's the fun thing about being a broadcaster, is that sometimes when it comes to stuff like this, you have to predict what's going to happen and talk about what you think is going to happen, only for the people out there to do pretty much the opposite of what you were predicting to happen and make you look like a complete and utter moron. Because, yeah, I don't think they're actually trying to save if they're catching him that bad.
Well, yeah, that's... It sort of becomes the question of you're trying to figure out what's in Will Worsler's head and what's in Troy Haight's head. If you've committed to making another stop, that means that you've only got to go 20, 25 laps. You can absolutely burn the tires off of this thing, make all that ground up as Silva starts to fall off, and then you're all going to stop again anyway. You're all going to be on the same tires. It's just a matter of making the gap where you can make it.
Yeah, like I said, I'd be doing to where you just go right to the end on this set of tires, because I feel like if you baby it enough, you can get it to last at a decent pace to where you'd be faster than making an extra stop and having the fresher tires. But that's why I'm up here.
Taking a look here at Kevin Stone and John Eckhart battling. Also have, I believe that is, let me see here. We have 2 7s in the race tonight here, and it is not the 7 of Jason Franks that we see in timing and scoring. So I'm not sure who the third car in line there is, but I'll tell you what, James, you want to talk about a point shakeup. We're getting one after the race tonight. Johnny Avila, Tyler Seville were 1-2 in points. Very likely Johnny Avila will still be number 1, but the margin will be significantly tighter. Avila, without some help, is going to finish last of the 14 cars that entered this race tonight. Tyler Seville able to get around Richard Smith, so he's going to finish 12th, but Seville being scored a lap down. There's some definitive help that needs to happen here. Seville, the first car 1 lap down, obviously would get the lucky dog if we get a caution. But, man, coming to the halfway point of the season, we're going to get a little bit wild here.
Yeah, that's gutting for Seville, man. Like, when your main rival has an issue like that, you need to take advantage of it. And with him getting his own penalty, that's just tough, because that's a huge opportunity gone to nothing.
Yeah, I can honestly say that's the first mistake Johnny Avila has made this season. Not only has he completed every lap and leading half the laps on the schedule, he's done it all incident-free. Has not tipped a wheel wrong this entire season prior to exiting the pits at that last pit stop. Tony Patton making his way down pit road here. That may be an unscheduled stop for Patton, already being scored a lap down to the race leaders. It'll be 25 laps to go. This time by for race leader Corey Silva. Well, next time by the start-finish line anyway. Does he have enough to hold on? His lap time last time by a half-second slower than Will Worsler and Troy Haight. Haight is not nearly closing the gap as quickly on Worsler as he was. And how about it? Give the shout to Mike Whiting up here in the 4th position. Impressive recovery drive for the Athol, Massachusetts native. Mayhew on the side of that Will Worsler Racing. Excuse me, that is the Whiting Racing. Number 44. He's up 7 to be your hard charger of the race. Or at least currently is the hard charger anyway. So inside of 25 to go here, James. What's the thought process here if you're each of these drivers? Corey Silva obviously is in hold-on mode. Maybe can make the end of this race, but it's not likely. Will Worsler probably can make the end of the race, but it's not definitive. What's the... It's interesting to think about what the thought process is there for these drivers. Is how do you make that strategy call in your head here, or do you just try to not outthink yourself? Looks like we have temporarily lost our co-host here, Mr. James Watson. We'll get him back in here as quickly as possible, but it'll be 22 to go here for Corey Silva. Hope y'all are enjoying the show on YouTube and Twitch. This is going to be fun to watch. Will Worsler now within a half second of Corey Silva. Worsler able to run that inside lane. Oh, man, Silver got it up into the safer barrier. In turn number 2, that's going to allow Worsler to really close the gap in. Battle for the race lead off at turn number 2. Will Worsler down to the inside. Corey Silva fights back tough on the high side. They're going to want to settle this out quick because it's going to bring Troy Haight into the fight as well. No matter what way you try to do this, you're going to allow the next car behind to play some catch-up. 20 to go here at Auto Club, and it's Will Worsler to the point for the first time this evening. Silva really throws it in deep to the inside into 3. Tried to slide up the racetrack, but Wurzler able to hold him down onto the inside a little bit. Silva going to be able to get the draft, the gap to third place. Troy Haight now down to 1.5 seconds. Mike Whiting quickly closing in as well. He's within 3/4 of a second of Haight for the third position. What a redemption story this would be for Will Wurzler. After, quite frankly, being the subject of the penalty report 1 week ago from Dover, coming out tonight and putting in a very, very strong performance here at the front of the field. We know Wurzler has better tires than Silva will at this point. Troy Haight, Mike Whiting, same story. The question is, are they going to have to come down to take fresh tires here late in this race? Will we see a caution flag in the next handful of laps? That'll put everybody on equal footing, and it would put Tyler Seville back on the lead lap. Wurzler's open up the gap over Silva to almost a second, and here comes Troy Haight. Here comes Mike Whiting. Who's your pick out there in the comments? Is Will Wurzler going to hold on to get his first win of the season? Somebody will be the first to dethrone Johnny Avila. And I'll tell you what, it's a good battle here for the lucky dog position as well. That's the 11 of Tyler Seville, the middle car there. Johnny Avila not far behind. Both those cars trying to come around Kevin Stone into turn number 3. That's the fight for the lucky dog. But the fight for second is really starting to heat up now. Man, Troy Haight just seems so much smoother off the corner. Corey Silva really fighting that 94 machine. In fact, let's take a look and go on board here. Lot of wheel input there from Corey Silva. And there you see it down to the inside goes Troy Haight. Pass complete. Put Troy Haight up to the second position. Silva going to try to fight back, but there may be nothing doing here. Troy Haight already 0.4 of a second ahead of Corey Silva. Mike Whiting's going to have to get the pass completed here pretty quickly if he wants a shot at Troy Haight and maybe even getting caught up to Will Wurzler. Whiting down to the inside off at 2. Looks like he will get that pass completed down the back straightaway. Now the chase is on. Will Wurzler, your race leader, coming around to 13 laps to go here at the Auto Club Speedway. And he is opening the gap on Troy Haight. Take a look at the last set of lap times. Very, very tight to one another. Last lap by Wurzler, almost 0.2 of a second faster than Troy Haight. The gap sitting at 1.9 seconds right now. Troy Haight battling Mike Whiting. Whiting still sitting about 0.4 of a second back. Not much in it right now. Troy Haight, Mike Whiting may need a caution flag if they want to get really caught up to the race leader. The draft may help a little bit, but gaining a 10th here and there is not going to make up 2 seconds in the last 10 laps or so. Here comes Whiting down to the inside of Troy Haight off of turn number 4. They'll drag race down to the line. Give it to Haight that time by 10 to go. The gap to race leader Will Worsler up to 2.25 seconds. This is a battle. Battle for second. Once again, Whiting down to the inside through 3. Not close enough to try the little slide job. We know who Nicky Worsler's rooting for out here. Last thing Will Worsler wants to see right now is a caution flag. Troy Haight, Mike Whiting, they might be okay with it. Put some fresh Goodyears on and get after the race leader. Man, what a valiant effort Mike Whiting is putting up here, trying to get around Troy Haight. He's able to keep some air on the nose of the car down on the white line in 3 and 4. This late in the run, these cars are absolutely going to push like a brick. Corey Silva holding on inside the top 5. AJ Digby also running in the top 5, currently in the 4th position. Digby about 2.25 seconds behind this battle. You see both cars in the frame. Will Worsler at the front, AJ Digby just behind this battle. The question becomes, is Will Worsler going to be able to hold on? Is Mike Whiting going to be able to get around Troy Haight? Seven very long laps await these drivers. It'll be right up there with their longest runs of the night. Big dive into 3 by Whiting. Tim Knott having to come down pit road. He could not make the tires last. Whiting now going to swing to the outside as Haight gets down inside on that white line. And these 2 cars are catching Will Worsler. They're not doing it quickly, but they are starting to close on the race leader. Gap still sitting at 2.4 seconds as they get down the back straightaway. Same story, different lap. Whiting way on the inside of the racetrack. Haight able to pinch him down just a little bit. 5-finger salute at the start-finish line. 5 to go here at Auto Club. Oh, and Troy Haight has a blink. Possible connection issues developing here for Troy Haight. Mike Whiting still all over the rear deck lid of the Thrustmaster, number 28 of Troy Haight. Two in the best in the Northeast. Haight out of Pennsylvania, Whiting out of Massachusetts. They're down to the inside once again through 3 and 4. Still nothing going. And the gap ticks down to the leader just a little bit more. Call it 2.5 at the line. Great corner exit there for Will Worsler. Allows him to open the gap back up. 3 to go. Whiting gets a great run off of turn number 4 that time. Tries to get to the inside. They almost make contact down the straightaway. Whiting down to the inside. He's going to try the slider. Can't get up the racetrack quick enough. Troy Haight going to have a chance to close the gap back down on the outside of 2. Momentum versus distance. Call that one even at the halfway point down the backstretch. White flag is out. 1 lap to go for Will Worsler. Side by side, it was Troy Haight by a couple of thousandths at the line. Haight going to be able to hold on to the spot through turn number 3. Off of turn number 4, checkered flag will go in the air, and it will belong to Will Worsler, getting the win here tonight at Auto Club. Race to the line for second. That one goes to Troy Haight. Mike Whiting comes home third. A.J. Digby fourth. Just now crossing the line, Corey Silva will complete your top 5. Absolute redemption story after a disastrous run 1 week ago. Will Worsler puts on the big show here at the Auto Club Speedway, coming home with the victory. Show you the race results before the Worsler Racing Party kicks off at the start-finish line. Will Worsler, Troy Haight, Mike Whiting, A.J. Digby, and Corey Silva, your top 5. 6 through 10, Kevin Stone, John Eckhart, Carlos Acosta, Richard Fletcher, and Johnny Avila. Tyler Seville, Richard Smith, Tim Knott, Tony Patton, the 14 that made up tonight's field. 15th was Jason Franks, having a VR issue just before qualifications prevented him from getting a lap in here this evening. Absolutely fantastic race here tonight. Once again, the Cars and Stars of the Sim Racers Club put on a show here on the National Racing Network. Will Worsler claiming the win, and we'll start to get ready for some victory lane interviews here. Looking for, let's see here. We need Troy Haight and Mike Whiting up to the waiting room here, but let's kick things off with our race winner tonight for the Victory Lane interviews. Will Worsler, congratulations, bud. 1 week ago, we were talking to you out of the infield care center. Tonight, parking it in the Fuzzies 19th hole victory lane here at the Auto Club Speedway. Congratulations, bud.
Thank you, sir. Man, I did not see this coming. That was a fun race. Can't believe it shook out like that. Some of the fast guys, had some bad luck or made their own, however you want to look at it. But either way, I'll take a win however I can get it. Man, this was a good race to win.
Yeah, it's a monster points night for you. Obviously, a clean race is one of the things you were shooting for heading into the race tonight. But ultimately, there was a lot that went on in this race. Some early pit strategy with the lap 17 caution. Did that really set the game plan for the rest of the night, just based on kind of how the numbers would break down to one more stop?
Yeah, I mean, we figured we would go green with around 80 to go-ish, and so, that put pitting around lap 60. The window was earlier than that, probably around 55, something like that. So, but I knew I wanted to go a little bit past 60, and I think I did 61 or 62. That's what lap I pitted on, and kind of did the overcut a little bit, and it worked out either way. I guess we would have had to find out as far as mine or Johnny's strategy. I know some of the other guys. I know Corey Silva tried a different strategy and didn't really work out for him. Troy Haight was fast, man. He had a good run tonight, and it was really good to see Michael Whiting come up what he did to get a podium finish there in third.
Yeah, Mike is probably one of the storylines of the night here, and the other one you mentioned, running the overcut strategy. James and I discussed it in the booth that maybe the undercut was not the right call here just because of how much Auto Club wears tires out. Was that part of the pregame process of just saying, look, we cannot short pit this. We've only got 3 sets. Don't want to have to use them, but
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, I think Atlanta, the race we had there, kind of set the tone for how this car and these tires are going to perform. And it showed me that I did not want to. I basically decided after Atlanta that I was not going to do the undercut. I'd rather do the overcut and get beat that way. So I feel like that the undercut is probably going to have to be special circumstances between the track, the type of wear there is, and the weather, and whether it's loose or tight or whatever for the undercut to be a thing.
It's interesting that you're kind of talking this way because it seems like once again this was another team effort tonight. A lot of prep going into these races, and the entire Will Worsler team having a pretty decent night.
I mean, we honestly, as a team, didn't get to put in as much prep. Everybody's got a life outside of cartoon iRacing, but I mean, we didn't get to put in as much time as we would have liked. We still got to put in a little bit of practice together, and I mean, every bit counts. I've got some. Man, I'm blessed to have the teammates I've got. They're all talented and fast, and they're all like-minded, and we all have the same goal to make each other better, and I think we do a good job of that. So it's a big help to have each and every one of these guys in my Discord and run with me every week.
Final question here for you before we let you go. Last week after the race, you lost 5 spots in the points. Tonight, you're going to make up just as many, if not more, with some of the issues that Johnny and Tyler had. What are you thinking here? We get a week off to kind of think things over, and then we come back for a pretty big 6-race stretch to close out the season.
Yeah, I honestly still feel like I did last week that my performance is going to hinge on whether or not I'm in the Xfinity car or the next gen. I'm still lacking something as far as the feel of the front end goes with the next gen. This car drives like I want it to drive. I may not be the best or fastest in it every week, but I'm going to do better, I think, in general in this car than I will the next gen. So, I mean, going forward, I'm just going to give it my best. I feel like I do my best when my goal is to keep a clean car and finish in the top 5 or try to finish in the top 5.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Will, fantastic race tonight. Congratulations. Wife Nikki was absolutely losing her mind here in the comments, so that was fun to see, get those comments up, and congratulations on a big win here. Let's make sure we get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, real quick, I've got to thank my wife first and foremost. I feel like I'm blessed, and it's uncommon to have the type of support that I get from her. She's been watching my races for years and giving me as much support and pressure, deservedly so, as she possibly could, and it helps me out whether she knows it or not. I got to thank Willoughby Roofing and Sheet Metal. Great place to work, great bunch of guys. They give me support. They've been watching my races. I got to thank Clay, Mario, Brandon, and Chasten. They've been texting me and asked me about in the last couple of days and texted me. I got some right now that I haven't read yet on my phone. Got to thank Custom Paints and Diecast that does our WWR paints. Best in the business as far as I'm concerned. Got to thank the guys that put on the league, the 2 Jordans, and Sam Maxwell, and got to thank you guys in the booth for putting on the show that you do. It's appreciated.
All right, bud. Well, thank you very much for the kind words. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and let's bring up our runner-up finisher here tonight. Guy who had the fastest car on the racetrack by time, unfortunately winding up just a little bit short here at the end, Troy Haight. I'll tell you what, man, you had a hell of a battle going on there with Mike Whiting at the end. I don't know that anybody was going to catch Will, but that had to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was good racing, clean racing there.
Yeah, I mean, you get to see the fun stuff, and what was kind of the thought process that? And we asked Will this same question. You got the caution with 17 to go. We know it then put you in the window to make it on one more stop. Were you entertaining it being a 3-stop race, or did that kind of seal the deal that yes, this is going to be a 2-stopper from here?
Yeah, I was pretty much set. I had a plan with just pin with like 40 to go, so it worked out. Will got out in front pretty far. I caught him a little bit, but then it just kind of leveled off.
Well, all in all, not a bad night here. You got a little bit of help in the point standings. Taking a look at where the numbers were heading into tonight. Let's see. Yeah, you were 5th in points, only 33 back of the lead. What does this do now, having seen Tyler, Johnny, they have some issues? Do you start thinking, hey, maybe a championship could be in the cards here if we keep this up front the rest of the way?
Yeah, I've had some speed lately. It's been working out. Got to keep one race at a time and see what happens.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations on the runner-up finish here tonight. Let's make sure we get any sponsor plugs and thank yous in for you before we let you go.
Yeah, I want to thank my dad for supporting me, with the racing, watches every week. Want to thank you guys in the broadcast booth and Sam Maxwell, Jordan Berry, and Jordan Hardish for running the league. They do a good job.
All right, bud. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you hanging out with us. And I'll tell you what, unfortunately, we were not able to get James Watson back in the booth, which is kind of disappointing because we had a hell of a show here late in this race. That one was a ton of fun. Sim Racers Club Premier Series, once again, putting on just an absolutely epic show here at the Auto Club Speedway. They are off next week, so next Wednesday night, no racing here on the National Racing Network. Coming back February 9th for 150 laps at Richmond Raceway. Continuing on through the month of February to Las Vegas and Pocono. Then the month of March, North Wilkesboro, Rockingham, and Nashville Superspeedway to close out the season. Coming up tomorrow night, it is the season finale of the Grid Rival Ezra IndyCar Series for the IR18s, coming to you from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And then we're going to Richmond for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. That one should be a barn burner. That's the short ovals for the PM18s always puts on an incredible show. If you like this stuff, tune in 9:15 tomorrow night for the PM18 show. Monday, we'll be back with the Silver Crowns. Tuesday night, Tear It Up Tuesday. And then we get an off night. Those don't come around very often, but we'll enjoy it here on our side. But with that, it is time for us to get out of here. Keep your eye out for coverage all weekend for the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Finally getting to see real-world racing action kicking off here. The month of speed down there in Florida already kicking off. A little bit of racing at East Bay, Volusia on the dirt, on the pavement at Daytona. A lot coming up here. Don't want to miss any of it right here on the National Racing Network. For James Watson, camera designer Connor Baldwin, and everybody else here at NRN, my name is Chris Graham. It's been a pleasure to have you hanging out with us. We will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.